What's going on, football fans? We're back again with our second game preview of this week. We've been talking about the Falcons and the Saints. It's a huge game in the NFC. It's a huge game for the playoff picture. Now, the NFC South is wide open. If the Falcons win out, they will actually win the division. If the Saints lose out or the Panthers lose out and the Cowboys or the Lions win out, we're looking at one of those two teams being knocked out, and I believe one of those teams getting in, or both those teams not getting knocked out and both those teams getting in. So this is a huge matchup. Falcons already won the first game on a Thursday night, so this game is going to be huge. It's going to be in New Orleans this time. We're going to be looking at probably one of the best games of the weekend. We're going to have so much. It's going to have playoff football, playoff atmosphere to it, and we're looking at a real tough divisional matchup. And you have to treat divisional matchups different than you would a regular matchup. So let's dive into this matchup. I'm very excited for this game. Probably something I'll be watching. My eyes will be glued to on Sunday. So let's get into it. First things first, looking at this matchup, we're going to have to go with Mike Thomas versus Desmond Trufant, one of the best matchups probably of the weekend. Michael Thomas is going to his Pro Bowl this year, as the Pro Bowl rosters were just released, I believe, yesterday. So this is a huge matchup, him against Michael Thomas versus Desmond Trufant in terms of, playmakers. Michael Thomas is having a really good year, especially in terms of what this offense is doing this year compared to what they've done in years past. They're relying more on the running game with Kamara and Ingram. And Mike Thomas isn't seeing the usage that he had seen last year as a rookie, but he's still getting those same targets, and he's converting those targets into catches, which is huge, especially when you have Drew Brees as your quarterback, one of the most accurate passers. And he gets you the ball. Drew Brees is great at spreading the ball around, but when he has a number one receiver, a true number one receiver, he'll make sure to feed him early and often and throughout the game. Desmond Trufant is going to have his hands full. Michael Thomas could take over a whole drive like he did last Sunday against, I forget who they played. I think they played the Jets. But he could take over a whole drive just by completely taking apart the defense. He's a great route runner, and Desmond Trufant is just going to have to stay on him, be in his face, get handsy with him, and the officials have to let these guys play on the outside. So if Mike Thomas is able to get going early, this opens up huge holes, in terms of the pass, in terms of the running game, because you can't have that safety. You're gonna have to double him, have a bracket almost, safety over the top, and it takes away that eighth man in the box that the Falcons might want to bring in. The second key thing to look at is Alvin Kamara versus his defense. In that first game, Kamara was knocked out with a concussion on the first drive or the second drive. In that drive though, he had a couple carries and he had like 3 catches, I believe. So if he's able to play this full game, it's going to open up that Saints offense as it normally does, because he's so electric and he's great acceleration overall in the passing game. So it's going to be up to Deion Jones to watch him. Deion Jones had the big interception late in that game to seal the victory the last time these two teams met in the red zone, which was a very uncharacteristic pass of Drew Brees late in that game. But if Kamara's able to go, it's going to be up to Deion Jones to identify him, and he's probably going to be mostly matched up with him. So it's going to be a fun matchup to watch. I'm looking for Kamara, do what he normally does. I think he got voted onto the Pro Bowl too. He's having a great year. He should be the front runner for Rookie of the Year. So if he's able to get going in that passing game, catch a couple of short passes, turn them into big gains, break a couple tackles, things like that, the Falcons defense could be in for a long day. And this Falcons defense has been playing well as of late. It's just going to be up to, to see what they can do this time against, if Kamara's able to go the whole game, and the Saints don't have to rely on Mark Ingram the whole game. Mark Ingram is best off when it's a 1-2 combo, and when he's running downhill and Kamara's taking pressure off of him in terms of the passing game. And our third and final key matchup here, this is something I highlighted the first time these two teams met. It's going to be Marshawn Lattimore versus Julio Jones. I think Marshawn Lattimore is playing, he's finally back to 100% health, or getting close. And last time these two teams met, I believe he wasn't playing at 100%, and Julio Jones definitely got the better of him in terms of a couple of routes that I can remember. Now, this is a huge matchup because Julio can kill you between the 20s. He's not really a high percentage touchdown guy because he kills teams in between the 20s and sets other guys up late in the game. So that's something that we're going to have to be looking out for here in terms of where they go. You know, they're probably gonna bracket him. I wouldn't be surprised, even though Lattimore is great in terms of one-on-one coverage. So it'll be up to, you know, how the Saints want to run this defense. They are missing some players that have been placed on IR. It's going to be up to Cameron Jordan, though, on that defensive line to get the pressure. The Falcons' offensive line has to hold up. And Steve Sarkisian, like I've been saying most of the year, has to find a way to get his guys the ball in space, in their hands, so that Julio Jones, as a physical runner as he is, get the ball, break a couple tackles, you know, turn a little gain into a big play. That's something that Julio has done in his career. So that's something that's going to be huge. And our final, probably a bonus, well, I guess I'll say bonus matchup to look at is Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman against the Saints defense, you know, I don't think he played the last time these two teams met. So Devontae Freeman was running the ball really well on Monday night against the Buccaneers. And they went away from the run late in the game, and then they went back to it late again. So, in terms of the running game, you know, if Devontae Freeman is able to get going, it opens up a lot for this Atlanta passing game. And jump into our 3 reasons why here. 3 reasons why each team will win this game. Let's go ahead and start with the Falcons. With the Falcons, it's all about ball control, I think, in this game. You know, you're on the road in New Orleans. You know, this is an important matchup here. You know, for the Falcons, you want to be able to control the ball. You want to control the line of scrimmage. Devontae Freeman is going to have to get the ball. You're going to have to feed him about 20 times, like 20 times this game. I'm not sure if Tevin Coleman's going to play. I know he's been out the last couple weeks. So, you know, if they're able to get Devontae Freeman going, it could be a long day for this New Orleans defense. Number 2, Matt Ryan has to not turn the ball over in this game. You know, going into a hostile environment, you know, it makes it tough, you know, to play sometimes, especially in New Orleans. New Orleans is such a loud environment. So if he turns the ball over, it completely changes how the momentum of this game could go. So look for him to try to avoid turnovers at all costs. He's been playing really well lately. So if he's able to avoid some turnovers, you know, have some big chunk plays to Julio in the passing game, this could be a good game for him. And number 3 for the Saints is about containing Kamara. Obviously, like I said, Kamara didn't play, got hurt in the first quarter on the first drive in that last game that they played against these guys. So for the Falcons, they're gonna have to contain him. You know, I wouldn't say that was a fluky play that happened when he got hurt. It's part of the game. But if the Falcons want to win this game, they're gonna have to contain Kamara. He's huge in the passing game, huge in the running game. Great all-purpose back. So look for them to try to for Deion Jones to key in on him. Deion and Keanu Neal to key in on him in terms of where he lines up and get their defense lined up right. Now 3 reasons why for the Saints. For the Saints, it's all about their 1-2 combo: Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. With those two guys, if those two guys are, you know, combining for 150 total yards, or, you know, even 200 yards of total offense between those two guys, it's probably going great for New Orleans. They'll probably win the game if that happens, over 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 or 3 touchdowns combined between them. I wouldn't be surprised if New Orleans takes the victory if that prediction comes true. You know, Kamara's that all-purpose guy, and Ingram's great in terms of in between the tackles. So look for that. The Saints' offensive line has been played really well this year, giving Breeze the time and opening up the holes for those 2 runners. Number 2. Lattimore has to get the better of Julio in this game. You have to be able to check him so that he's not getting chunk plays inside the 20s on both sides, in the middle of the field, inside the 20s, taking his team to the red zone almost. You know, he's going to have to get up in his face, get handsy with him. The refs have to let these guys play on the outside. You have a lot of physical receivers in this matchup with Michael Thomas and Julio. Sanu's pretty physical. Refs just have to let these guys play. You know, this is a rivalry game. This is a huge game. This is a playoff atmosphere game. Refs got to let these guys play. And number 3, Drew Brees cannot turn the ball over in this game. That goes for both quarterbacks. Like I said, on the Matt Ryan side, both these quarterbacks can't turn the ball over. It changes momentum. You know, in the last game, Drew Brees threw that game-ending pick, or that game-sealing pick, to Deion Jones, who made a very athletic play on that ball. So for Drew Brees, it's about protecting that ball, throwing for about 300 yards in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws for 300 yards. And yeah, I'd say a couple touchdowns. Getting Mike Thomas the ball, Brandon Coleman, Willie Snead, Kamara, Ingram, getting all those guys like he normally does involved in the passing game, get them going. My prediction for this game, with all that in mind, if both teams stay healthy on both sides of the ball, nobody gets hurt. It's a divisional game. I have the Saints winning. This is a huge game. I think the Saints want to win this game. I know both teams want to win this game because it can solidify playoff hopes, and it solidifies the NFC South almost. For the Saints, they have the advantage over the Panthers. They're looking to split this game. They could split this game. I think that they would take the NFC South with the victory. So for the Saints, I think I'm gonna take the Saints. I'm gonna take the Saints 24-17 in this game. I'm saying 24-17. I just think Kamara plays the full game, makes a couple big plays in the passing game. Ingram runs downhill in this game. Mike Thomas has about 7 catches for about 90 yards. Drew Brees doesn't turn the ball over, throws for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think Matt Ryan will throw turn the ball over once, probably a pick to a safety. I wouldn't be surprised, and the Falcons can't get their running game going. So I'm gonna take the Saints 24-17 in this game. It should be a fun matchup, probably one of the best matchups of the weekend, and that's gonna be that should be it for all my game previews this week. Look at the schedule one more time to see if there's anything else. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Peace.